We got some great news for Palantir stock investors today, September 9th, 2024. In fact, we got two pieces of great news. The AI stock will be joining the S&P 500 index, which will increase its awareness among the investing public and give it access to regular index buyers. Additionally, today, Palantir announced a business partnership extension with BP, which I think is more beneficial to Palantir stock investors compared to the S&P 500 index news. And I'll share with you why I think that's the case in this video. Let's take a look. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now. So let's start with the news on the index. So Palantir is set to join the S&P 500 index on the open of trading on September 23rd. Dell Technologies will also be joining, but this reflects how technology companies and AI-related names in particular are reshaping the market. Now, there are certain requirements that companies have to meet to join the S&P 500. They must have a market cap of at least 18 billion, meet profitability, liquidity, and share float standards to qualify for the S&P 500 per the methodology from August. Now, Palantir has recently started a string of profitable quarters. The market capitalization is certainly high enough, and the company's got an excellent balance sheet, and its stock is very liquid compared to the number of shares outstanding. So Palantir meeting these regulations, entering the S&P 500. Now, the reason why this is good news for Palantir stock investors is because by joining the S&P 500 index, Palantir will now be part of the index that will purchase its shares to meet the demand from index buyers. Millions of investors do not invest in individual stocks, but instead just buy an S&P 500 index at regular intervals, so once every month maybe. And so as they make those purchases, included in those purchases will be Palantir stock. And so that increases the purchases of Palantir stock. However, Palantir stock is already expensive. Now, I've highlighted this in previous videos. Palantir stock has been on a tear in 2024. It started the year trading at a forward price to earnings of around 36. This is when I upgraded Palantir stock to a buy. I said it is an excellent business trading at a relatively cheap valuation, and I recommended the stock as a buy. However, as Palantir stock price soared, I recently told investors that it was a good time to take profits in Palantir stock. In fact, I made that update on August 21st when I told investors that it's a good time to take profits in Palantir stock. The valuation is stretched, and I downgraded the stock to a hold where I previously had it rated as a buy. And the primary reason being this expensive valuation. Now, I fully acknowledge Palantir is an excellent business, best-in-class service, competition is way behind, pristine balance sheet, re-accelerating revenue growth, profitability for several consecutive quarters. I could go on and on about all the positive aspects of Palantir's business. That being said, the valuation is the most expensive it's been in a very long time. In fact, I think the valuation is the highest it's been since the company became profitable at a forward PE of close to 80. That's why I downgraded Palantir stock to a hold from a buy. Now, this is also why I think the news I'm going to share with you next is more valuable than the index news, and I'll circle back to that point towards the end of the video. So the other piece of good news for Palantir came with an extension in a partnership between Palantir and BP, where Palantir's AIP software will assist BP to safely and reliably harness large language models to improve and accelerate human decision-making with suggested courses of action based on automated analysis of the underlying data. Now, I love to see when companies expand relationships with existing customers. That's great demonstration of their customer value proposition, is when an existing customer extends or buys more from the client, from the buyer. Now, The reason why that demonstrates excellent customer value proposition is because if they're not getting good value or great value, BP would not be extending or increasing this relationship. They would actually be trying to end it and saying, okay, when our contract is up, we don't want to do business with you anymore because your price to value is not great, it's too expensive, or whatever the case might be. But when they choose to extend and expand, that demonstrates that, look, we spent $100 million with you and we feel like we got great value and we want to spend more now because what we're getting in return is so much more than what we're paying you. So we want to extend that relationship. And that's a great sign because that means that Palantir is offering a great value across the board. It's not just the one company that they're serving well. It's probably all companies that they're serving well. And so that's great implications for the company's future. That's why I think this news is better than the joining of the S&P 500 index, which is more just pricing movements, changes in the ownership percentages. People will now own Palantir stock through indexes, but then some individual owners of Palantir stock will begin selling because the valuation is already stretched. It's already so expensive. So if you now bring in those new buyers from the index fund, the valuation will stretch even more, and that will cause those value-conscious investors like myself. I don't own Palantir stock, but if I did, this will be a great opportunity for me to sell Palantir stock because I'm a value-conscious investor, I should say, and when I notice the valuation getting stretched, I look to take profits sometimes. And this will certainly be a time to take profits. Now, not everyone will, but there will be a percentage of people taking profits to compensate for the increase in buyers from the S&P 500 index. And so overall, I don't think that will be a longer-term benefit to Palantir's valuation. The valuation, that's what's important. The price to earnings or the price to free cash flow. But the other news, the news about the extension of the deal with BP, that will add revenue and profitability to the company's bottom line, which are the only sustainable sources of shareholder increase in the long term. These other things, like including in the index or a stock split, these are things that I don't value very highly. I don't think of these things as buying opportunities. I think of those things actually as selling opportunities, because the excitement around those events, I think, are overdone because it doesn't add any fundamental improvement to the business. It doesn't mean Palantir is more profitable. It doesn't mean Palantir will get increase in revenue. It just means that more people will own Palantir stock through an index fund. That will create more demand for Palantir stock. I'd rather have more demand for Palantir's products and services, not demand for Palantir's stock. And that's why the second piece of information is better for me. Regardless, they're both positives. They'll both bring an uplift to Palantir's share price. One just for the near term because of the hype and enthusiasm, and already you notice Palantir stock price is up today. But the other one is more of a longer term benefit to Palantir shareholders as that relationship with BP pays off in revenue and profits and cash flow. Did you know that over 90% of the people that watch my channel are not subscribed? It'll really help support my channel if you hit that subscribe button. And oh, by the way, one of the benefits of being subscribed is that I take requests from subscribers more often than I do from non-subscribers. So if you prefer that benefit, please subscribe to the channel.